Quite a while back here on the channel, we took a look at this knife from my friend David at Ultimate Survival Tips, the MSK1, and it performed really well in all my tests. And really the only drawback that I could find to it was the price. This thing was around $300. Very good knife, but it's just out of a lot of people's price range. Well, David worked really diligently to come up with a lower price solution, and he was kind enough to send me this version, the MSK1 Primitive, which is the exact same knife with a couple of different little modifications, and it comes in at under 200 bucks, actually 149 bucks at the time of this video. So half the price of the original, but still all the functionality. So we're gonna take a look at it and see how well it performs coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me here for another Sharp Saturday video where we're going to take a look at the MSK1 Primitive, which is the lower priced, budget priced option or version of the standard MSK1. And I got to say, by the way, a big thanks to the folks at Big Daddy Unlimited for sponsoring this and most other Sharp Saturday videos. And the Ultimate Survival Tips MSK1 is available on Big Daddy Unlimited as well. So they are my favorite place to buy things that go bang, things with blades and all kinds of cool gear. And they're also one of the best ways you can help support the channel right now and save money if you buy stuff. If you don't buy stuff, you won't save money, obviously. But it's a membership site, and you can get your first 30 days for just 99 cents and check it out and see if it makes sense for you by going to survivalonpurpose.com/BDU. So anyway, thanks again to those folks. So let's take a look at these two knives together and separately. We'll talk about the differences and how David was able to get the price down from $300 to $150, and then we'll get to doing some of that knife stuff. Okay, so here are the two knives and their sheath systems. You see this one was a lot more involved, so we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about this one because we've already done that, and I'll put a link to that video up in the right hand corner in the description. But the only difference is I changed out and put these orange handles on it. Okay, so here are the two knives. Here's the original and the primitive version, and I thought we'd do is there are many more similarities than there are differences. So let's just talk about the differences first and get that out of the way. So first of all, the original version was D2 steel, and the primitive version is 1075 steel. So a little bit of a steel difference here. The original version has I think these are micarta, they may be G10 handles, and the primitive version has hardwood handles. The other biggest difference is the original version came with a really pretty comprehensive different kind of sheath package and different options. The primitive version comes with a really nice leather sheath, which you can use for a dangler, or you can use it as a belt sheath. And the sheath also features kind of a little pocket back here you can stick something in, whether that's a ferro rod or just you know, a lot of different ideas. You can actually use one of the mini tiny survival guides, which are pretty cool. I've done a video on those. So, and you can see that the knife fits in this sheath. Either way, it's kind of formed right now for right-handed carry, but if you want to carry it left-handed, you can certainly do that. So it's ambidextrous sheath, which is pretty cool. Very nice, welted leather sheath. The other big difference is the original is made in the USA, which is one of the reasons the price was, he just couldn't get the price down what he wanted to. And this version is made in El Salvador. So let's talk about the things that these knives have in common, because that's really what sets this apart from a lot of other knives. So first of all, this knife features a overall length of 11.3 inches. For those of you still stuck in that metric system, that's 28.6 centimeters. The blade length on this is 4.6 inches or 11.7 centimeters. And it's 2.2 inches thick or 5.6 millimeters. Again, it's 1075 steel with just a gray titanium style finish. The weight is 14.3 ounces or 383 grams. Some of the features of this knife, it features kind of a clip point design here, but the point is center line of the knife, so that gives you really good ability for drilling and doing different tasks like that with it. So the knife has a 3-position handle. You can choke. It's got this big finger choil here, so you can choke up really tight on it here and do some really fine carving. If you want to just do your basic harder use and average knife stuff, you can hold it right here in the middle, and then you can actually, it's got a nice swell here in the handle. You can kind of get a 2-finger good and get some good leverage for chopping. so it does chop pretty well. Also has a ramp jimping here. It's got a big bit of mass right here with a kind of a place to hammer here if you want to use it to baton, and it gives you a lot more mass for chopping. Has a hammer pommel here with a lanyard hole, so you can use this to break nuts or to pound things or whatever. And then it has a little ferro rod striking choil right here. Look at Kuma's over here sniffing on something. I'm not real thrilled about those things. Usually I prefer a straight spine, but we're going to try this one out and see. And then has a bow drill divot here, which is reversible, and a couple of lashing holes here. You can tie this and make a spear or something, you know, to reach higher, maybe to get some fruit out of trees or something like that. So it feels really good in your hand. So that's all really cool. But what I think is really cool about this, and what really sets this apart from me from most other knives I've seen, is inside this handle, there's room for a 20-item survival kit. All this here fits inside this handle. I always carry this little Swiss Army Classic with me. It's come in so handy for so many different things. I found out recently this will strike a ferro rod really well, but it works pretty well just to get these screws loosened up. They're stainless steel screws, by the way, so you don't have to worry about them rusting. Although the blade itself is 1075, and it will rust if you don't take care of it. Well, now let's see if I can put it in there. Let's see what we got in here. Well, he's got a picture to show you how to put it in there. So I'm going to do it together, see what we can come up with. So we got one aqua tab. It goes in here like this. So I guess it doesn't matter if they crunch up. As long as you keep them separate, they'll be able to go in your water. And those aqua tabs are each one treats 1 liter, so you got enough to treat 2 liters in here. Then you've got 3 of these little fire tenders, the Baddest Bee fire fuse, and they're waterproof fire starters. And we'll try to put these in here. And then we have a spool of 30-foot line. This is pretty tough line, actually. Try to cram that in here. This is going to be fun to get all this in, I'll tell you, but we're going to try it. So get that back down in there where you go. Get back down in there. Good news is, it's just here if you need it. If you ever need to take it out, I'm probably going to try to put it back in. So then, it's got a little cork, which is good for a fishing bobber. You can make a compass with it with a needle and float, pretty good, and it just sticks in there like that. And so that's really all it shows in this slot. Wow, okay. Then we have 2 Ranger bands, and this is a water bag, a 1 liter water bag wrapped up in here. So we'll put it right in here. We also have a little ferro rod, which is always good to have, and I'm gonna put it right inside here like so. Keep all this together as good as possible. And then we have a fishing kit. The fishing kit has 2 safety pins, 1 magnetized needle, which is good for making a compass. It also has 3 fishing hooks and 3 split shot. So we're going to try to put that in here as well. He's actually got a video that shows you how to install this if you're unable to get it yourself. But we're going to try it. We're going to see if I can get it in there. I just don't want to stick this needle in my finger. That would not be good. I haven't bled on a video in a while. I like to keep it that way. Got to push that thing down there, man. All right, we'll put this one in first. And we'll put you in. And we'll put you in. So actually, I think it's going to be okay. And would you look at that? Okay, well, as you can see, the handle is completely back up tight flush again. And I got to say, I'm pretty impressed with that. I think that's pretty cool. It's nice to be able to have a survival kit with you at all times if you've got your knife. And if you don't have your knife, shame on you. Granted, it's a minimalist survival kit, but you think about it, it has the ability to make fire. You've got a ferro rod there and some good fire starters. Have the ability to purify water. Has a 1 liter water bag, the ability to get water. Has the ability to make a compass with a magnetized needle and a little cork. You can float that thing around and it'll point you north-south. And maybe you can get yourself some food with the fishing kit. So I think that covers a pretty wide range of potential situations. At least maybe could be a big benefit. It'd certainly be better than not having it. I'll put it that way. So that being said, now let's get to doing some knife stuff. How about that? Just to be as fair as possible about this, we're gonna beat the heck out of this thing because David is a friend of mine, and when I made that last video, some people said, "Oh, you're just being nice because he's a friend." Because when he made his original sales video, he said that this thing would prevent you from having to carry a hatchet and having to carry an axe and different things like that. And a lot of people seem to take that that he was saying that you don't, there's no need to have a hatchet. You could build a log cabin with this. That's not what he was saying. This is a survival knife. To the best of his ability, he designed this thing so that it would be able to do multiple tasks. Let's do some chopping. How about that? Okay, so not bad for a knife in my opinion. So how about some batoning? Again, I picked this piece on purpose. It's got a lot of knots and stuff in here. And again, this is oak, super solid. So let's do a little batoning, because I like to do that anyway. And people say, you shouldn't abuse your knife like that. Well, let's just see if, since it is abuse, some people think it's abuse, let's just see how well this thing stands up to some abuse. Got this nice place here designed for batoning. So this knife is intended to be batoned. So got through a couple of little knots here. I'll do again. Let's go again. Again, we're not talking about splitting cords of firewood with this thing. We're talking about just maybe getting to the inside of some wood. Something like that. Some really stringy wood. Look how stringy that oak is. Pretty tough stuff. We'll do one more time, just for the heck of it. Okay, so we got that. What can we do now? Let's try something different. Let's try to split it like this. Do that. And we'll just bang the heck out of it with this baton on the hammer end, on the pole. How about that? And we'll see if it'll get turned around. Now we can do it this way. I'm trying to get to the inside of this wood here because it was raining a couple of days ago, and trying to find something to make some feathers out of. And this is, of course, not the best feather wood because it's oak, but we're going to try this right here. You want to try it? Let's try it. I was holding it right here when I was chopping. We're going to just try to hold it up here with that choil and do some carving and see how well this thing, because it's a big blade, and the ability to get right up close there gives you ability to do a little more fine work. And this edge is pretty good. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot to do the redneck sharp test. So, and I don't know if it's going to pass it or not, especially after beating it through that wood and chopping like that. But you want to see? Let's see. So, yeah, I guess so. If you can look, can you see that? It's not great, but it did shave. But we'll give it honestly a barely passing on the redneck sharp test. Kuma, get back. This thing will hurt you. It'll bite you, Kuma. Get back. So now we'll do a few more feather carving. And it might have done better before the chopping, but it still did. It just took a little more pressure than normal. So you can see it's carving some nice little curls here out of oak, which is not easy to carve. It's not good curly carving wood. But can you see that? Get focus, grasshopper. Not too bad. Now we got the old piece of fat wood here that has been literally stored outside here on the ground for about 7 years now, 6 or 7 years. And one thing the other one did not really have was a sharp spine. It looks like that area right there on top of that little shoulder might be sharp enough to scrape. We're gonna see if it scrapes. And would you look at that? It actually does. Not too bad, actually. Okay, that is an improvement over the original, I believe. Put that back in its storage container. We'll just take the ferro rod that came with the original one, or was an option for the original one, which is a kind of a small ferro rod. Try a couple things. So this little notch right there, it says is a ferro rod striker, and it, by golly, works. I'm gonna turn it. No. Get back, Kuma. This will cut you. Get back. Get back. Get back. Go get this. Go get it. We'll try this. We'll try the spine. I like the spine better. Okay, so the spine is sharp, but it's not as sharp as I would like it to be. So let's just see if we'll put the sheath back on it so I don't slice my hand to ribbons here on a video. Hold it right here, and we're going to use this little notch right there, that little notch right there. See it? See if it'll work better. I think it will. It's pretty sharp. There we go. So you can kind of rest this thing on the ground and pull right back through it, and it worked great. And that was the fat wood is rocking the house, man. So see why I love me some fat wood. Look how long that little pile of fat wood is burning. Isn't that great? But let's see if I can get the wood burning without the fat wood. And we'll do the same situation there. We'll rest this thing on like so, and we're just going to pull the ferro rod right through it. It's doing a good job. It's just this wood is still pretty damp. I'm going to try a bigger ferro rod. Well, let's see if the little thing that comes with it is any better. Yeah, so a little better. So I have to say, I think if this notch maybe had a little less wood around it, was maybe relieved a little more, had a little more exposed metal, it'd be easier to use. It just doesn't seem to have quite enough to get a grip there. It might be something as simple as just taking this handle off and carving that carving that out a little bit there. But I think that's just a slight ding in my opinion. Okay, well that was some knife stuff with the MSK1 Primitive, and I gotta say, just like the original, I think this knife performed very, very well. It feels good in your hand. It's very balanced to use for carving stuff. You choke up here, you can get a really good control with it, but it chops as well as, or maybe even better than almost any knife I've ever chopped with, especially a knife with a 4-inch blade, 4.5-inch blade of this small a package. I like the fact that it's got this survival kit in the handle. I think that's a pretty handy thing to have. I actually think this is an improvement over the original. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but the spine is closer to sharp, and it wouldn't take much to make it sharp. I guarantee you that, because it's already just using it kind of sharpens it up a little bit. The one thing I think, again, I'm not thrilled by, and I said it before I even tried it, was this little notch here. It's not a big fan of those striking notches. I didn't like the one on the Tops Bob knife either. So all in all, I think it's a pretty good knife, and definitely for 150 bucks, I think it is a pretty good deal compared to the original. Now, all that stuff's great, but you know, here at Survival on Purpose, we are all about the science, and to that end, we maintain a state-of-the-art, cutting-edge knife testing facility here at our worldwide headquarters. And one of the testing facilities we always like to put every fixed blade through, almost every fixed blade anyway. If you've been watching the Kephart series, you know what I mean. There it is, right there. The balance, orientation, and rotation device. We like to test the balance of these things and the aerodynamic flight characteristics, so to speak. So I think we should do that. Even with wooden handles, I don't like doing that with wood handles knives, because sometimes the calibration is not right on the testing, and you get you get some errors, and woods it's not as tough as micarta or G10. But we're going to give it our best shot. So let's see how well this thing is balanced. Let me try it from about right here. Whoop, 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 whoop. First throw. Once more. Whoop, 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 whoop. I'm going to call this one balanced. Okay, well, hopefully that was a reasonably coherent look at the MSK1 Primitive from David and the folks at Ultimate Survival Tips. And I got to say, at least in my opinion, this thing performed just as well as the original, which, by the way, performed great in my opinion. I think for its size, again, it's a great chopper. It's a very handy, all-around useful tool to have. I really like the survival kit in the handle. Again, the only negative I've got is this little sharpening notch. I just don't like those. And I think it's very well balanced. So if you want to check this out further, I'll put a link in the video description. Again, 149 bucks is the price of this right now, including the leather sheath, which I think is pretty cool. So anyway, as always, thanks for watching Survival on Purpose. I put out a brand new video every Friday and Saturday, and sometimes random videos throughout the week. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single one, just in case cancel culture catches up with me, I invite you to go to survivalonpurpose.com/subscribe. Get signed up for my weekly email newsletter. Not only will I send you one email every week with links to current videos and some old videos that I may look like a real doofus on, but also there'll be some news, offers, and deals you might find interesting, and it will allow us to stay in touch. Because I'm not going away. Even if I get canceled, I'll go somewhere else. So that'll allow us to stay in touch in case that happens, and I'll be able to tell you where to go to see the content that you like on this channel. So anyway, I've rambled enough about that. I really appreciate the support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.